Oh, hey, it's Barry, and I think competition is ramping up in the gaming market, in the gaming space. We got a whole bunch of new leaks and rumors coming out about brand new consoles in the form of handhelds coming from Sony, Xbox, and Nintendo. Nintendo is already going super strong in the handheld market with their Switch selling millions and millions of copies and units, a whole bunch of first party games that are actually pretty cool. And Xbox seems like they want to tip their hat because we have been getting reports that Xbox is also trying to get into the handheld market, making a whole bunch of systems behind closed doors. They're already in prototype stages. I already made video on it. I'll leave it in the cards up above and below. And what's really interesting about this is it's planning to be a native handheld system, not a cloud streaming device similar to the PlayStation Portal, meaning you could actually have physical games in your system running first party games offline without internet connection. That does seem pretty cool for gamers, and it really had me wondering, like, are we really going into a full digital future with handheld gaming, as physical games on these handhelds do tend to be a bit more expensive? Like, producing physical games for these handhelds do tend to get more expensive. Look at the UMD on the PSP. It was a really good solution. It was slim, it was sleek, you could just fit it in and it plays your games, but ultimately it's more expensive to produce something like that, and durability and longevity on those wasn't really optimal. I broke like 100 of those UMD discs, and of course shipping these discs on SD cards aren't really too cost effective, as each one of these SD cards cost a couple dollars in comparison to something like a Blu-ray disc that you could get for a couple cents, maybe less than a dollar or around a dollar maybe. And looking at the way developers are treated, the constant layoffs, the constant money hunting from these companies, I can see a future where they just decide, you know what, let's just stop physical games. It'll be way more cost effective to them to just simply let you download it off the storefront. And I think it's something that they will be willing to do. However, there's a bunch of problems coming with an all digital future when it comes to handheld and gaming in general. I'm sure a lot of things come to mind because if you look at the PC market, it's basically fully all digital. There's no PC games that really come physical. A lot of PCs don't even have CD-ROMs anymore. And with the rise of handhelds that take advantage of Steam and all these digital storefronts, we can see digital being a much more prevalent thing moving forward. Sony is also working on their PS Vita 2 that is planned to be releasing within 2026, and it does seem to have a whole lot more specs upgraded. You get PS4 games natively on a system, on a handheld. That's pretty cool. And I just wanted to talk about this because this is going to be more of a rambly video. I'm just going off of my head, my thoughts and opinions on this. But I see that the landscape of the gaming industry is kind of changing right now. And things are going to get pretty digital because now thinking about it, if all these systems are planning to release a whole bunch of handheld consoles, what's the cheapest way to get physical games out on a handheld right now? Like, there's not really many options. On a PS5, you could get Blu-rays for like a dollar, but right now, Sony is pretty close with Blu-ray. They work with it a lot. They have it in-house, so it's basically really cheap for them to get Blu-rays. However, getting some other type of storage media to sell physical games does seem like a challenge. And we also seen these digital storefronts sometimes malfunction, deleting games that are no longer needed. Once the server dies, that's it for these games. No physical copies anywhere for people to relive or replay their favorite games after it dies, after the servers go out. And game preservation has been a really serious topic in the gaming community, and I think that this really goes against that, honestly. These single player games release, and you have to be on an online server for no apparent reason. You're playing by yourself, alone. Why do I need to connect to the servers? If the servers go down, my single player game is gone. And that's just bad for me as a consumer. I spent my good money for this game. I don't like when stuff like that happen. I felt really heartbroken when Overwatch 1 switched over to a free to play. I paid $60 for Overwatch 1, and I know that isn't a single player game or anything. and I was intending to play that game with that model until the end of time, until I wanted to stop playing. However, they made a decision for me to switch over to a free to play model. You don't get as much things for just playing, and honestly, it's just a bad look overall. But there is a whole bunch of competition in the space right now, as there are competitors, the Asus ROG Ally and the Steam Deck. But of course, those run Windows and different operating systems. So if Xbox could come out with their own proprietary operating system that makes it a much more smooth experience, just play and go. I could see that being a really successful thing. People actually wanted to play these games on the go through Game Pass. And even native games like their first party releases on Xbox, you could just play it on the go. That sounds really fun, and I could see it being a success for Xbox and for the brand. However, moving forward, I also wanted to talk about AI and checkerboarding, upscaling, because the PlayStation 5 Pro is planning to release with checkerboarding, upscaling, PSSR, PlayStation Spectral Resolution, and I know these things aren't native raw power. I thought the Pro would honestly release with way more raw power, but it is releasing with the same CPU, just a bit overclocked by 10%, and it's optional, so developers have to still decide if they'll take advantage of the 10%, so it may not be taken advantage of in every single game. But I do see upscaling and AI checkerboarding becoming a theme in the gaming community and the landscape with these companies, as the PS5 Pro is planning to do it. I made a video on the Nintendo Switch 2 that came out just a couple days ago. I'll leave it up in the cards, up above and down below. But I see that Nintendo is also planning to do AI upscaling with their upcoming Switch, which does seem like a good idea because Nintendo's hardware does seem to be a weaker comparison to the PS5, the Xbox, the other gaming consoles on the market right now. But their first party games is what really does it for them, that makes them really successful. So if they could figure out AI upscaling to just make it a lot more pretty, a much better experience for gamers while they're playing docked and even on the Switch console, the handheld, it just seems like a good idea all around. And I see the whole landscape switching towards AI, opposed from raw power. I think that's just a cost thing because the cost of these video cards gets really expensive the higher up you go, the more frames you're able to push and stuff. And I see they're not even focusing on frames at all. Frame rate is not getting much love within all this, as the AI upscaling can only work with images and making 720p images 4K within like 2 seconds. And if you're familiar with NVIDIA DLSS, we all know that's a beast of a upscaling technology. So I could see video games getting a lot better looking, but not necessarily playing better. The frame rate might still be trash if it's a certain game that's too demanding on the CPU. And that just seems like a bummer, to be honest. I'm sure we could all think of a couple games that probably could use a frame rate boost on the PlayStation 5, but I just think the whole landscape of gaming is about to change, with games going a lot more digital, checkerboarding and AI resolution upscaling becoming more of the norm, and a lot of changes happening in the gaming community. I'd just really like to know what you guys think of all this down in the comments below. I'm Barry Games. I make gaming content of all types, and I really appreciate you watching this video all the way through. It's usually more structured, but I just thought I'll go off my head, talk about what's really been concerning me in the gaming community. And as always, have a great day. Oh, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Have a great day.